Hey guys, Sarks here, back from the desert. Let's talk about ARMS. It seems that since the game came out, it was easily overshadowed as one of the Switch's lesser first-party games, especially with Splatoon 2 taking the multiplayer scene by storm. Well, no one seems to disregard its quality. It was met with generally positive reviews across the board. The main complaint I've noticed doesn't actually come from the game itself. People seem to be confused at the lack of narrative and explanation for everything, which actually is perfectly fair. The game hardly gives the player context for anything that happens in-game, and although the concept is fun in itself, it is admittedly a bit odd. Well, for those of you who felt the ARMS story left something to be desired, I've got just the thing. Today, we're going to be discussing ARMS' lore, as can be found in the game itself, as well as in the new comic that will be published by Dark Horse Comics, which, if you're interested in nabbing their elusive preview issue for yourself, stay tuned until the end of the video. In this first episode, we'll tackle the science and purpose of the ARMS ability itself. Let's start by discussing what the ARMS ability is. This is actually the subject that the lore makes the strongest attempt to elucidate. So starting off, most obviously, it's a phenomenon that mutates the arms of a living being, stretching them out in a coil-like fashion. But why is it there? Where did it come from? Well, according to some trailers and researchers at the ARMS Institute, the origins of extendable arms are unknown. Debated origins include heredity, mutation, and even experimentation by extraterrestrial life. All attempts by historians to find answers have ended in failure. This does not mean, however, we know nothing about the ARMS ability itself. The first confidential ARMS Labs research document explains that the earliest materials we have relating to the ARMS ability date from 1500 years ago. However, some experts believe that it existed for at least 4,000 years. The hallmark coiling like a spring phenomenon can be found not just in people, but in animals and plant life as well. This is consistent too, as we see in some areas of the game, as well as the Dark Horse preview comic, that there are indeed trees that appear to be coiled, as well as dogs. So this is not an exclusively human phenomenon, which means the potentiality for it being an inherited trait makes almost no sense at this point. Even if they tried to go the whole common ancestor route, this research would need to show much earlier evidences of the ARMS ability, not as recent as 4,000 years. Unless, of course, they are talking about heredity in a different way. As previously mentioned, it has been hinted at that extraterrestrial life may have bestowed the ability to Earth flora and fauna in some way. In any case, interesting lore bits to chew on for now. Going deeper into detail on the ARMS ability as seen in society, the second ARMS Labs confidential document tells us that the number of people with the ARMS ability is rapidly increasing. Currently, 20% of the population is affected. Considering that some of those affected may not have reported to the ARMS League, it may be even higher than that. Though once deemed an oddity, in this day and age the ability is considered a gift, and those with it are strongly admired. Now, the ARMS Institute tells us that the individuals with the gift of ARMS often participate in the ARMS League, so the implication is that if you have the ARMS ability, you most likely will enter into the ARMS League, which, if that is ARMS Lab's way of measuring the entire population, that must mean that there are a lot of ARMS League participants. As a matter of fact, if this takes place in present day, and around 20% of the population participates in the ARMS League, then this may actually be the single most competitive sport in the world, and the contestants we see in the game rose above nearly a quarter of the world's population to get where they are. Technically, anyway. I'll get into how truly difficult it is to make it into the league later. Now, when ARMS Lab says population, it's not specified whether or not it is referring to the country ARMS takes place in, or if it is actually the world's population. And as for the country ARMS takes place in, that's hard to determine. But we know that there are real-world languages represented in the characters who have lines of dialogue. Also, we know the head of the ARMS League, as well as the organizing body of the ARMS Grand Prix, Max Brass, speaks English. Being that he runs the thing, and he clearly is the American representative besides Springman, we can assume the ARMS Grand Prix is run in fictional America. I want to emphasize assume also because that certainly isn't conclusive evidence. But the two most important characters in the game are very obviously American. There are others that speak English words, but they aren't as iconic, nor do they seem American, like Dr. Coyle, who seems to have a British accent. In any case, I digress. If we assume that the Arms League takes place in fictional America, and this takes place in present day, 20% of the current 325.7 million people in the country still amounts to a staggering number. Okay, continuing on the topic of the Arms ability, the third confidential document tells us that the arms of those with the Arms ability transform into either something deeply connected to the individual or something that was nearby at the time of their awakening. However, there are some known examples of cases that do not follow this pattern. The document then says that an investigator is currently shadowing one of the outliers they talked about. I'll return to that probably in another lore video. In summary, those who have the Arms ability undergo an awakening, which gives them their ability usually overnight. What their arms will look like is dependent on a few factors, like something deeply connected to the person. Misango likes to make bracelets, so his arms appear as them. Ninjara is a ninja, so his arms are chains of a nunchuck. Or something that was nearby when their awakening hit. Min Min's ramen noodles, Master Mummy's bandages, etc., etc. Another document we can look at for additional information concerning the Arms ability states that the ability often emerges overnight, with those affected discovering their transformation upon waking up. Awakenings are most common during teenage years, though in some individuals the ability has lain dormant for as many as 74 years. Some are even born with the ability, though this is extremely rare. Springboarding off this concept, get it? Based on the current research, apparently only 100,000 individuals are born with the Arms ability already manifest. So yes, considering the total amount of people who have the ability, around a quarter of the population, that is a rather small amount of people who are born with the ability. One last thing to note is that the natural expression of the Arms ability can be seen on someone's face. Now, I know what you're thinking. You can also just look at their arms. Yes, but we're talking about being able to tell who received the ability artificially or naturally. There are actually a small set of people in Arms that didn't get their ability naturally, like Bite and Springtron, who were built with it, and Mechanica, who uses a mech suit she built to participate in the League. The irises of one, who has received the ability naturally, take on a spiral shape, and comparing their eyes to the eyes of characters who did not receive their ability naturally, one can notice the difference. There's a certain science behind the Arms ability and the eyes, but we'll get into that in a more in-depth lore video to come. As a final note, I'll leave you with this, just a bit of a teaser to chew on until the next video. Now, we've learned where the ability can be evidenced. The irises. What's the connection here? Well, the Arms Labs has a couple of documents that state specifically how the Arms ability can be controlled. Notice how all the fighters wear masks? That isn't just for show, and those masks were actually specially manufactured by Arms Labs, who also are mostly responsible for the creation of the actual Arms tools themselves, like the toasters, flamerangs, or slapamanders. By the way, just as a side note, some may see the game and notice the different arms you can choose from and think the characters are modular and can remove their hands like robots or something. This is certainly not the case. They all have hands under these attachments. Anyway, back to the eyes and the masks. Apparently, the Arms mask technology is a very secretive project, and the way they work, what they do, and why fighters must wear them at all times is a closely guarded mystery, only disclosed at the discretion of a Dr. C. Who is this Dr. C? What do the masks do? How is the Arms League organized? Find out answers to these questions in the videos to come. Thank you all for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, hi there. How are you all doing? Have you all gotten over your Halloween hangovers yet? Have you girls gotten over your terrible regrets to dress up as Bowsette for Halloween? Anyway, so as I said at the beginning of this video, we are going to be giving away a preview issue. There's going to be a few more giveaways here and there. One related to Smash Ultimate that I think you guys will really like. I mean, Ridley is still looking over the details over everything. But as for this one, the Arms preview issue. So I know that most of you heard about this already, and this is something that I talked about on the channel, and I guess people already knew there was a thing. But you can't really find this anywhere anymore. It was a free comic book day giveaway, and it was free. And I have two of them. So I want to give away this one. I guess if you want to have a chance at getting this one, I will go ahead and send it to the giveaway winner. And I guess the rules of the giveaway will be something like comment in, the place where you do that. Let's see, what should I make it about? I'm figuring this out literally right now as I'm shooting this video. This is so off the cuff, it's not even funny. We'll just test your lore knowledge, okay? So what's a good one that you can't easily reference? So what's the connection between Max Brass and Bite and Bark? Seem hard enough? That's hard enough. The first person to comment the correct answer to that and figure out what is the connection between those two characters, what is their history, just something vague at the very least. You can actually find this in the game somewhere. I won't give you a hint at where you'll find it, but there is somewhere that references that the two had some kind of, So anyway, first person to answer that properly gets the preview issue for Free Comic Book Day. Does that sound good? I don't know what you're saying. Probably yes, probably no. I don't really care. At this point, it's long overdue. Sorry about the wait. I graduated recently, so I thought I should make a more of a personable video appearance, if that makes any sense. I just got back from the desert. Actually, I was never in school. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, see you later.